And where you're watching from around the nation, I'm Jason Portwando. Thanks for joining us as we have another installment of Stronger Together. As you can see, we put together an elite panel. We'll get to the distinguished members in a second. But I got to admit, it was around last year when I made the switch from the harness side to the thoroughbred side. And I'm envious of Chad Rosema and Monique Vag because it was an unbelievable time of just action-packed events. You go through the North America Cup, you talk the Pacing Derby, you talk Metro Pace, you talk Canadian Trotting Classic, inaugural Mohawk Million. It just goes on and on and on. But obviously, as we all know, guys, it had a different feel to it this year just because of COVID-19 and just really strange. But we're getting through it, and that's what it's all about. Unifying for the Ontario horse racing industry, and as a result of that, we will indeed get to that sustainable future. Today, it's all about harness racing, which is a good thing. Thoroughbreds are racing today up at Woodbine, so the focus will be on harness. And as you can see, we've got the panel together. And this is very unique because we're covering basically all angles of the industry. We have Jim Lawson, part of the racing operations side, obviously, the CEO of Woodbine Entertainment. We have Brad Grant, longtime harness owner. And we have Ann Stratman, who is our anchor. She is going to bring it home for us. And she's got more titles than a library. So let me go through all of this. I want to make sure I get it right. She is the reproduction manager at Sealster Farm, also the sale manager of the London Select Yearling Sale, and chair with Standardbred Canada. So first of all, guys, thank you all for joining us here today.
Thank you.
Great to be
Thank
here.
you. Nice to be on again.
All right, so a lot of interesting topics, a lot of people watching, so let's get right to it. We start with the Mohawk Million because that is fresh, obviously, and we're just coming off, it feels like last night. I know it wasn't that close, but wasn't all that long ago in terms of the inaugural event. The type of format, it's been booted around for a while by Woodbine Entertainment, and it was great to see that we finally got it off the ground. And I'm going to start with you, Ann. As chair of Standardbred Canada, what did you think of the concept?
I'd like to answer wearing a few different hats if I could.
Yes.
As chair of Standardbred Canada, this race goes a long way to bringing harness racing to the forefront in the public eye. The more recognition for the sport, the more we can attract new people to participate. As a commercial breeder, Sealster was very proud to have one of its own in the Mohawk Million, Tokyo Sealster. As a sale manager, we're wanting owners and trainers to look forward to a big race like this so that yearling buyers have the opportunity to recoup their investment. The top 5 finishers in the Mohawk Million were all able to return their purchase price to their owners from the winnings from that race alone. So I think it's really important.
Awesome. And we'll go to you next, Brad, because obviously you were an integral part of the success of the eventual winner in Venerate. You purchased the slot, you made the deal with the Millers and the Penskes, and we know the rest of the story. But, you've done so much for this game as an owner. You've been such a supporter of the industry. What did you think of the Mohawk Million concept yourself?
Well, Jason, when I first heard about it, I thought, what a great idea. We have the venue. The interest I thought would have taken off, and I do believe it did. To be a part of it and get in early and get a spot, I really thought we would have a horse that would make the final starting gate, but unfortunately we didn't, but we were able to work out something. And, it's unfortunate because of COVID, we couldn't have the fans there because I do believe it would have been another over-the-top night. And, you can't say enough about how it was run and how it was done.
And Jim, obviously, we'll get to, your talk, obviously, your opinion on the same thing. Just maybe the overall process. Talk about that, how difficult it was to get to this point. And of course, after having success in a challenging year like this, everybody wants to know, will there be a part 2?
Sure. Well, I think if you don't try something, you're never going to know whether it's going to work. And certainly that's been part of our culture at Woodbine Entertainment is to try new things, and if things fail, no regrets, and people are prepared to be bold and try new things. And certainly, when this idea was originally surfaced, we were having discussions, as Anne may know, with the Hamiltonian Society, and those didn't get to where we needed them to get to. So we stepped up and we decided to be bold and did it on our own. I think the concept of helping the Wellwood as an entrant, Jason, was great for our series and our 2-year-old trotting series, and I think that was something that we adopted that ended up helping the race in terms of just the interest throughout the summer and getting ready for the Wellwood. So we went with it, and I think it helped. It helped the breeding industry. I think it helped the sales. The biggest concern, and the biggest concern about potentially doing it again next year is being able to sell the slots. And we gave ourselves enough time, and we announced it early enough that I think as I said, it did have an impact on the sales. We gave ourselves until mid-February. That process is all being analyzed, Jason, right now, to determine whether we should be making any tweaks to make it to improve it. And I can't tell you the outcome of that, but I can tell you that I'm confident that we're going to give it a go again. We haven't made that announcement because we're actually just finishing off our analysis. It was in some ways unfortunate the way it unfolded. When I say in some ways, the good news is I agree with Brad. It was a wonderful night and it attracted interest, and we can count many positives. The negative, of course, is the environment we're all living under today, and that's the pandemic. And what that didn't allow us to do was to host these wonderful people like Brad and all the other slot owners who stepped up. And our plan right from day one was to thank these people and host them for a wonderful weekend in Toronto. And unfortunately, we couldn't do that. And we thank all of them for participating and stepping up. And we hope that we'll have that chance again next year, and that many of the same slot owners will do it again. But all in all, the good news is it was the feedback we've had on the race was extremely positive. We're in the process, as I said, of making the decision again. I heard Brad say that he wanted to get in early, Brad. So we can do that right now. If you're ready to go, we're ready to go. So we think we're moving ahead, and I'm hopeful that hearing Anne's comments and hearing Brad's comments, I really think it is a great thing for the industry. It brings harness racing to the forefront. We'll have a better chance to promote it in year two in many ways, and I'm hoping we'll go ahead, but that's certainly conditional on selling those slots again, which our team, Jessica Buckley and Bill McClinchy, and the help of our board, they did a great job, and I'm confident they'll be able to get it done again. So thumbs up. Let's hope we're seeing the Mohawk Million #2 next September.
That would be great to have that, just be an anchor as part of the Woodbine Entertainment schedule in terms of Mohawk Park. And yeah, if we can get Brad to buy a couple of spots, I mean, hey, people will want to buy it off the lucky man who, is able to click in that first year of success. Those of you just tuning in, welcome. Another edition of Stronger Together. Jason Portwando alongside CEO of Woodbine Entertainment, Jim Lawson. We got Brad Grant with us as well, longtime owner, and Stratman joining us, and she does it all, whether it be breeding and sales and the chair with Standardbred Canada. So we're covering all the angles here, as talked about, the perspectives from the breeders, the owners, and the racing operators. Let's begin with breeding, Anne, because obviously because of COVID, it's been a very different year, a very challenging year. A lot of things being done differently, like this. We're getting together virtually. And I look ahead to the upcoming sale, and I'm just wondering, how do you think the industry is going to react? Because, this year's sale, we're looking at doing things online.
It's been challenging for sure. When the pandemic began and the realization of what that meant for the London Selected Yearling Sale, as we were just taking sale entries in March and April, we wondered how long the restrictions would last. And most importantly, how could we conduct a sale safely for both sellers and buyers? One of the other hats I wear is chair of the Board of Governors at the Western Fair District. So when the Western Fair Agriplex was turned into a field hospital by the London Health Sciences Centre, we knew that there was a real risk that our sale facility would not be available this season. We knew there was challenges too, according to the number of people that would be allowed to be gathered. In June, along with my partners in the sale company, we decided to make a plan that would allow us to choose how we would sell our yearlings and keep everyone safe at the same time. We thought by making the decision early, all would have the time to plan on how to inspect yearlings without them all being in one location. So to answer your question, everyone, both buyers and sellers, are anxious to try something new in this industry. But I know fear of the unknown has driven most of the negative feedback, and I feel certain that people will find the process very simple once we begin. I talked with my sisters about this morning, and we're still very happy that we made the decision to sell yearlings virtually with on-gate, but change is difficult for some. And safe access to the yearling auction process is more important. So we're in it, and we're going to carry on this way. Yearling buyers have been introduced to the hybrid type of auction, combining online and live auctioneer at most of the yearling sales so far. And a lot of people have opted to distance themselves and use the online bidding platform. I think that OnGate offers an auction platform without the customary speed that a live auctioneer demands. That way, those with less than stellar internet service, I'm included in that, can still participate without the fear of being shut out. In Ontario this season, buyers have a lot of options, and we truly wish all breeders the best of luck with their sales. The hoof bid online auction begins tomorrow with a very similar sale structure to the London sale. The Ontario yearling sale is hosting a live hybrid auction on Saturday, and the London Selected Yearling Sale opens its auctions on Saturday as well, with the first auctions closing on Monday at noon. So it's a stressful time, but I feel that we're well prepared.
It is stressful. I get it. You will handle it well, but it's the fear of the unknown. I mean, a lot of us are doing things differently, as talked about. Some handle change better than others. So the pandemic it's a trickle-down effect to various industries and not just ours. So hopefully things go well with the yearling sale and breeding as well. And Brad, we'll turn it over to you next. And in terms of the recent Lexington sale, that's one that you often travel to. Go there with your trainer, buy some horses, but obviously things again different this time around. What was that experience like?
Well, Jason, I go with my wife actually, and she's been training me for 35 years. But I mean, we make a holiday of it. We go for 10 days. We see the races. We see the countryside. It's great. But obviously it was disappointing. The sale is the big reason we go. I like to see the horses. I mean, I trust my trainers and I trust my advisors, but there's nothing like being there, seeing the horses. I mean, the farms have done a great job at videoing and showing, everything they could possibly show on the colts and fillies, but there's still that, maybe I'm an adrenaline junkie, I don't know, but there's still something about being there that I miss. I thought they did a great job. I was able to bid online and it worked out great. I thought David and Randy and their whole team did a wonderful job. And obviously, it's the way of the future for people that can't get there or don't want to get there. But there's still nothing like being at the sale.
I agree. I agree. So we've covered the impact on the yearling sale, breeding, buying horses. Jim, what about Woodbine Entertainment in terms of the impact the pandemic has had? I mean, we look at the numbers, the wagering numbers have been phenomenal. I mean, arguably tops in North America. If it isn't there, it's pretty close to it. But obviously, when you look at the picture from an overall standpoint, it's been difficult, right?
Yeah, yeah. The overall, it's severely impacted us. It's not been good, and it continues to affect our operations. We're just in very uncertain times as to our planning. A few weeks ago, we brought back 60 employees to be involved in the food and beverage operation and casino operation at Woodbine on the food and beverage side. And of course, with the new restrictions by the provincial government, we had to change course over the weekend. And it's those types of decisions that are very difficult, and the financial impacts that we've had this year. From missing a couple of months to the casinos not operating to all our ancillary sources of revenue, for our bricks and mortar being shut down, 19 off-track wagering locations in Toronto and Peel have now had to be shut down again, and that had been giving us a substantial bump, Jason, to where we were in June and July. So it's been a very troubling time in so many ways. It's forced us to rethink the way we're doing business, certainly from a guest experience standpoint and the interplay of our food and beverage, which has become certainly part of our brand. But we're going to have to look at different ways of serving our customer. None of us are really that comfortable that things are going to change for next season. So we've had to reassess it. It's forced us to make some very difficult decisions in downsizing our organization, and coming through and reflecting on this period, that personally has been the most difficult thing. Jason, is and you're part of our organization. You've seen it with your colleagues, the downsizing at Woodbine that's gone on, and none of us like it. Yet at the same time, as we said from the very beginning, and I was pushed on this many times, why are we doing what we're doing? And we have a big responsibility in this province to this industry. Woodbine is clearly the economic driver. We're the leader in the province, and I don't say that with any great pride. I say that with just the reality of what we need to do to keep this industry strong for people like Anne, whose family has been in it for more than one generation, and we've got to keep this industry going. And so everything we do is seen through that lens. We are a leader. We want to sustain the business. And so we have had to make some difficult decisions. We moved very quickly in March to make sure that we preserved capital. And at the time, the real message to us was, we want to come out of this stronger. We're going to look at our business. We want to preserve capital. We want to be able to operate when we're allowed to resume operations. We want to have the capital to get going again. And so we have always taken the long-term view that what we're doing is through that lens to support this industry and to support the people in the industry. And so it's been a troublesome time. I hope that we will come out of this. We're certainly transforming our business to adapt. As you've referenced, Jason, our wagering has been good. It's been in large part a result of a great job by our wagering people and our marketing people to convert people onto HPI. When you think of it, without the bricks and mortar that haven't had most of the year, and now we're losing a big chunk of it again with Toronto and Peel shutting down. Credit to our people to moving over 10,000 customers plus to HPI. Our wagering on HPI is up 50%, and continuing to be innovative to try and keep up with the times and develop products like Dark Horse. We've been working with Dark Horse for the first few months now. We're thrilled with the technology behind Dark Horse, and we're working to grow that business. And it's undergoing some changes because we've used this soft launch to get a lot of feedback, but it's that type of product that is going to support this industry 10 years from now and 20 years from now. We have to support new customers, new people interested in the sport. Before we came on today, Ann and I were talking about new owners and new investors in the sport. And one of the ways to get them interested is either to get them to the track, which the guest experience, don't get me wrong, is still very important for our wagering customers and to attract new fans. But at the same time, technology and innovation, Jason, are going to be the distribution network and reaching new customers through digital means and making it fun for them and make it interesting for them. And so I hope for this industry that a variation and a form on Dark Horse can take off not only in Canada but throughout the horse racing world, because that's what we need to look forward 10 and 20 years and make sure we're attracting that new fan, because for the large part we're dealing with an aging demographic today.
One of the reasons why we have Stronger Together panels is talk about, sustaining things for the future. And I'm sure that many horsemen are watching right now, and they're wondering, when we get to next season, in terms of maybe dates or even purses, will there be any change, or as of right now, are we going to just stay the course?
Well, wow, I thought this was going to be an easy panel to be on, Jason, but no, it's a tough question, and this the answer to that really is no area of our business is immune to what's going on. Despite the wagering numbers, I don't mind sharing we're down $100 million in wagering this year. And it's going to be very hard to make that up. We're week over week now. Our wagering numbers are better year to year, but we dug ourselves in a deep hole, and we're still approximately $100 million underwater. We have not received revenue from that was projected in terms of our rent. With the gaming operators, they've been good corporate partners in paying a base rent, but it's their lack of operations have left a big hole. Our food and beverage service, our valet service, just at Woodbine, and many other sources of revenue, our Champions Lounges being down, it's been problematic. So we have to do what's right for the industry. The industry's the first words that come to mind, Jason, are stronger together, and we're going to have to sit down with our partners, the horse people, and figure out how we can get through this period together, because it's been a difficult period. Everything we do is for the horse people. It's for the employees of Woodbine. It's for the people in the industry. We do not have any shareholders. So every move we make is to sustain this industry. And I think it's a case, Jason, of coming together and saying, here's the facts. How do we manage this? So Woodbine, as the driver of the economics in this province, comes out of this strong and sustains itself. So I think everything's on the table. I'm not suggesting that there will be purse cuts, but I think we need to come together and recognize the reality of what we've been through, and all with a view to making this industry stronger for the future.
Now, we should mention, it hasn't been all doom and gloom. There's been some positives that have actually come out of this whole pandemic situation. us coming together as a racing community, people finding other ways to wager online obviously is a huge one with HPI as talked about, the emergence of Dark Horse. And then broadcast wise, I can tell you, I'm excited about Racing Night Live coming back. I mean, we took full advantage of the lull in sports in terms of the Canadian landscape. In fact, we were the first live event to be back on the air at TSN many months ago. We put things on pause for a bit, but now there's going to be a bit of a lull. Baseball's almost over. There's just NFL. There's no CFL. Hockey's done. Basketball has wrapped up. So it's going to give us a chance to once again be in the spotlight. I don't want to say a second season for Racing Night Live, Jim, because this is kind of the continuation after a bit of a pause. But you got to be looking forward to that. That has been huge for both breeds.
Yeah, absolutely. It's exciting. I think we first of all, it was the right thing to do to take a pause during what became a very overcrowded sports market in September. And here we are once again with this opportunity. We have a great relationship with TSN. They're very good partners, very supportive. Pete Buchanan from TSN, who's been producing it, has been working with Rob Platts and our broadcasting team, and Christina Litz, who's the head of broadcasting. And the end result of that partnership is I think you guys do a great job and put on a wonderful show. I think the features are fun. The music is fun. We're trying to make racing entertaining, knowing full well that a lot of our audience are core customers, but it gives the core customers a chance to watch it on prime time and learn more about the drivers and the jockeys and the trainers and the owners. I think it's just been extremely well done, and I'm excited and thrilled that it's back on again. We have a pretty clear sports calendar. Once baseball's over, I think the Masters creeps up, but they're not playing golf at 7:00 in Georgia, 7:00 at night, which is another neat thing that we've moved to Friday night at 7:00 to stay away from NFL football on Thursday nights, and in doing so, we got to bump up an hour from the start time from 6:00 to 7:00, which really should help our viewership because when we were on in the summer, we had an uptick around 7:00 after the dinner hour, which we're expecting again. So it's great to be in that time slot. We reached 500,000 new viewers over the course of over the period that we were running Racing Night Live. It was a fun show, and so we're excited. It also gives us an opportunity to sell Dark Horse, if that's the right word, or to promote Dark Horse. I was searching for the word, but to convert people onto Dark Horse, and we're going to do, I think, a little bit more during this series of promoting HPI. Because with the lack of the Champions Lounges, again, we're going to make a bigger push, Jason, to promote HPI, which I think is going to be good. And so it's, when you think of it, it's great for the core racing fans. It's great to attract new fans. It's a fun show, and we couldn't be more pleased. And just putting and this is a harness racing crowd, but having the opportunity to put harness racing on primetime TV across the country is really exciting. I mean, it's unprecedented, and I'm not supposed to use that word unprecedented because everyone uses it too much these days. But I'm thrilled that we're going to have that opportunity, and you guys, I'll say it again, you guys are doing a great job as hosts, and it's fun, and I'm looking forward to it.
It is a lot of fun, and you're right. I mean, 6:00 traditionally, not only dinner, but everybody watching news. So I really think that us moving now to 7 till 9, unique show. I mean, you'd be hard pressed to find another racing show that offers both breeds. It's phenomenal. It's going to be even more action packed. It was already action packed. Now it's going to be just crazy. I can't wait. I mean, we're going to kick things off tomorrow night we're going to have 3 from Woodbine, so races 6, 7, and 8, and then we'll have races 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 coming up as well from Woodbine Mohawk Park. The introduction of a brand new wager called the Crossover Pick 5. Oh, I can't wait. It's going to be a lot of fun. And we have a lot of fun doing it. The only thing I don't like is the fact that Laura and I continue to get upstage with our selections by Brody and Chad. But we're going to make up some ground, and hopefully that happens. And Brad, have you guys had a chance to watch the show? We'll start with you, Ann.
Yeah, very exciting. The mainstream broadcasting with all the excitement, the high definition, the color graphics are exactly what's needed to promote horse racing in Ontario. And I think that the integration of the dual breed production is great. The background interviews create an interest to those who may have never considered horse racing entertainment before. So it's where horse racing has always strived to be recognized.
Oh, sorry, I'm just adding a couple more hats to marketing and production manager. Look at you do it. You do it all. You're like a producer. You're marketing. I love you're talking about the graphics and everything else. Brad, what about you?
Well, I don't have the titles, but I do enjoy. I have a converter, so I'm good to watch the show. Very much have enjoyed it. I think they've done a great job of, both the thoroughbreds and the standardbred side. It's entertaining to watch the interaction with you and your team there and Chad and his group. I really enjoy the mic'd up portion. I think people have to enjoy that. Listening to the drivers during a race, it helps, I think, to understand why they do things, maybe jump in a hole or let a guy in a hole so they can get out and around them. Some of those guys, what they've done, Bob McClure, I listened to one from Yannick the other day, which, for people that are in racing every day, why or what they're doing, kind of. But for the public to watch it and hear it from a driver while it's going on, I just think whoever decided to do that, like, hit a home run. It just,
Yes,
it's informative to the people. The whole show is just a tremendous show, and kudos to everybody.
Yeah, Jason, wouldn't you say, and I think I'm agreeing with Brad that even as someone I've been in racing all my life, but I like watching because I learn new things all the time. I mean, you guys have just done a great job of teaching people, and some of the lessons and the interviews, they've been so informative, and that's why I think some of the core racing people are learning a lot too, because I've certainly have taken a lot away from it. It's been informative, and I sure hope that you guys continue to do well and our viewership continues strong, because I think it's great for the sport, and because it's really going to attract some new fans to the sport, which is a great result from this period.
Yeah, it's a great team from top to bottom. I know you only see certain faces on the TV, but the technical and production teams, it wouldn't be possible without them. They actually do all the hard work, so we appreciate that. And by the way, Brad, the guy who hit that home run with the bases loaded, Luke Van Belkom, the producer on the harness side. Great job for him to come up with that mic'd up segment. And back to you, and I should say you and Paul. I forgot to put Paul McDonnell into the mix, because every time we speak to you, he is fixated perfectly behind you to get some airtime of his own. But last Saturday at Woodbine Mohawk Park, we got a chance to talk about some grassroots. And I love the grassroots. I know everybody gets excited about the golds, but I love the grassroots just as much. And seeing what can turn into be a gold horse, perhaps as a 2-year-old grassroot one year, can turn into a gold horse next year. But I just want to touch on the OSS program, the entire Ontario Sire Stakes program, and it's been top notch for so many years in this industry. Talk about how you're able to keep that top line status. You got others jurisdictions along the way, like Ohio or Kentucky, Pennsylvania. They're tweaking and trying to attract some top stallions and trying to get to our level.
Absolutely. I've always said that the Ontario Sire Stakes program is the cornerstone of breeding in Ontario. I always profess that you cannot equate a yearling's potential earnings with their auction price. And sometimes, after a rather economical purchase, it turns out to be the one to beat in the sire stakes and in open competition sometimes. But the OSS gives opportunity to all Ontario sired horses to compete at a level that they can be successful. We have comparable purse structures to the best racing jurisdictions and great rewards in the grassroots and gold finals. So eligibility creates opportunity for those who compete, and the breeders' rewards make raising your offspring in Ontario very beneficial.
Brad, as an owner's, from an owner's perspective, you as an owner, I mean, you've had OSS horses over the years throughout your career in this game, but not just OSS, all levels, stakes, overnights, claimers, whatever else have you. Is that by design? How much does Woodbine Mohawk Park's sort of schedule, for the variety of racing year round play into what you decide to do?
Um, my background, obviously, Jason, is the overnighters. That's where, when I got back into the business, that's where I started. And what started as a dabble has now become a full-fledged business. But when I got more into the stake horses, especially the Grand Circuit types, I realized that you're buying a yearling in October. You're not going to see him race until June, July. So you're carrying the expenses. And to me, I needed something to help with those expenses. And at the time, I had some decent overnighters. And so we just kind of continued that program. The guys that trained for me have done a great job at keeping most of the overnighters at a competitive level. And so it's worked for me. The big thing is you have to watch the balance, because you can very easily get too many yearlings, and with not having the income from the overnighters coming in, it could tip either way. So we've really kind of managed it that X amount, I need X amount of overnighters, plus with the purse structure and being able to race, on a regular year, you're racing 30, 35 times with an overnighter. Gives you lots of opportunities to uh, help carry the young ones until they get racing, and you hope that they'll pick up the slack, and by the end of the year, you're ahead of the game and you start over the next year.
Well, speaking of OSS, yes, I'm looking forward to this weekend with the super finals coming up. But you're right, it's like a hockey team. And I know we were talking off camera, you and Jim discussing the respective ice careers in Burlington. Jim's a lot older. I mean, Jim's a lot.
Oh
Never
yeah.
mind. We'll move on in terms of the careers and the arenas. And Jim used to have two blades on his skate. And anyways, but the point I'm making here is that you're right. You need those third and fourth liners, those gritty guys and gritty girls that are going to go into the corner for their respective teams and do that work. And that's what we need over the wintertime when we don't have the Grand Circuit races. You got the overnighters that just battle week in and week out. So I'm glad you made a point of discussing that. Jim, let's shift gears and don't go too hard on me here, but we'd be remiss if we didn't mention some movement in terms of the board, in terms of Woodbine Entertainment, the board of directors. Recently, we saw the departure of guys who have been there so long, in terms of former chair Clay Horner, as well as director John Fielding, and now the exciting appointment of Christine McGee as she joins the team. And just talk about her now being a new chair with you guys.
Yeah, thanks, Jason. Well, first off, I think it's worth, and I want to mention just the huge contributions of Clay Horner and John Fielding, who are both of whom are well known to certainly this group and this audience. They both extremely passionate about this industry. I think John, obviously, with a huge investment, and they were great to, certainly for me, to have them on the board. I said recently that having John on the board and wearing both hats, both as a thoroughbred investor and a standardbred investor in substantial ways. I think it was great to have people of that quality on the board who understood racing, and they both made substantial contributions. And so the next step, of course, in board evolution and board governance is to find replacements. The great news is initially, without even having replacements, we moved Christine McGee into the chair role. Christine needs no introduction, especially if you grew up listening to the radio and her Sleep Country ads. But she became the face of Sleep Country Canada, which is a huge business success story. But Christine was one of the brains behind that operation from an operating standpoint, and the business model is tremendous, and it's made Sleep Country Canada a great success. And so the part you saw about Christine on television and on the radio, she was behind the scenes with her partners building a hugely successful Canadian business that we can all be proud of. And in addition to that, she sits on the board of TELUS, obviously one of the major telecom companies in the country, and she sits on the board of Metro and sits on a couple of charitable foundations. She is so well respected and deservedly so. And so we're fortunate and excited to have a person of that quality and that leadership as the chair, and it'll be a great thing for the industry. And I can assure people that she is engaged. She's learning. She's probably listening right now, and so that's exciting. At the same time, I want people to understand that we are buttoned down from a governance perspective at Woodbine. We are run like a public corporation in terms of our governance model, our compliance model, our committees, our internal auditing, and in addition, the composition of our board. So we have a skills matrix that we're currently reviewing. And we have so many different businesses. When you think of what Woodbine Entertainment represents, from a real estate standpoint, from a marketing, from technology to food and beverage, but at the core of it, of course, is horse racing. And so we're sensitive to the fact that John and Clay were both prominent standardbred horse people. So we are going to be adding 2 to 3 new board members in hopefully coming weeks, certainly by the end of the year. And certainly our target is both thoroughbred and standardbred skill sets to ensure that the horse people have a large voice on the direction of Woodbine Entertainment. So rest assured that that's the way we think, and that's what we're doing, and we'll continue to build a stellar board. I think if you asked someone like Christine coming into this, we have a very good functioning strong board with an excellent skills matrix. So I'm excited to work under Christine, and also I would say that as we continue to grow our business in many different ways, that we've got our eye on the ball in terms of a skills matrix and people that will come in and support us. So thank you for asking that, Jason, and letting me mention it. So,
if Christine's watching, I can tell her that jingle worked. It's still in my head. Why buy a mattress anywhere else? It's just one of those things you heard growing up in the car, and it stuck. So, those of you just joining us, Jason Portwando alongside Jim Lawson, Brad Grant, and Stratman. we're missing Marcia and Jan. I think we'd have all the boxes filled here. And we're going to go back to you. I know you said you wear many hats, and this is what we're getting at in terms of the breeding perspective, the owner, as well as racing operations. That's why we've assembled this crew here today. But put on your Sealster hat for a moment, and just maybe discuss some of the changes, some of the challenges that you're currently facing at Sealster Farms.
So currently, all our stress has been focused on the new format for yearling sales. Breeders only get one big payday in a year, and to stray from that proven format of sales has everyone anxious. But we'd make the same choice today, given the opportunity. I think this decision to go virtual is in the best interest of everyone involved. So. Additionally, we've been very conscientious to try and keep everyone safe and distanced during the pandemic. So changes to those routines have been time consuming, I guess, but they've been well adhered to. The 2020 breeding season was relatively unaffected by the pandemic, and we're hoping that that'll be the same for 2021. But no one is sure how long we will be restricted. And given the unpredictability of the pandemic, we're all kind of in a wait and see mode.
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right, guys, final topic. We're going to wrap talking about Woodbine Mohawk Park. And obviously, Woodbine's vision for a long time has been to make this the #1 destination for harness racing in North America. And if they're not there already, they're pretty close to it. But obviously, I'm a little biased with that assessment. But we all know about the decision to move Standardbred racing to the Campbellville Oval full time. We know about the renovations, the brand new paddock, or the expansion of the paddock, I should say. Brad, I just want to touch on things from an owner's perspective. And obviously, you've got a lot of partners that live on the other side of the 49th who have been longtime supporters of our game at Woodbine Mohawk Park. What's the feedback that you get from them in terms of the oval and the way we run business?
Well, Jason, everybody to a person that I talk to, whether they're my partners or they're not, have nothing but high praise for coming up here and enjoying their time at Mohawk. The atmosphere, the feeling of being part of a family, the racing, every night, every weekend during the summer, there's something going on under normal circumstances. I know they'll be back next year, hopefully, God willing. A lot of them are disappointed that they couldn't get here this year. I kind of liked it because I got to the winner's circle by myself. But overall, they miss it. They very much miss it. They miss the great service here. They get treated well. Everybody seems to be having fun. The whole atmosphere is a positive one, and they see what Woodbine Mohawk Park is trying to put together as a world-class racing center, and they can't wait to get back. I can honestly say that they can't wait to get back here because they just love it.
And for you, and the Sealster Farms lineage can be felt all across North America. That family tree is branching out in all sorts of directions. In your opinion, what makes Woodbine Mohawk Park a leader in harness racing?
As an Ontario breeder, it's always our hope that our yearlings will be successful, and part of that is racing at Woodbine Mohawk Park. They're a leader of the Alliance tracks in Ontario, offering top purses, grand circuit racing opportunities, and Mohawk is an integrity leader in our industry. With the Standardbred Racing Integrity and Accountability Initiative, I think we are prepared to be accountable to the public for the way our horses compete, how they're treated, how the industry responds to those who break the rules of racing. And as we become more visible, like on TSN, we must be prepared for this scrutiny by the general public.
And Jim, we'll wrap things up with you. Obviously, it's your vision, or at least Woodbine Entertainment and the board of directors. Do you believe that vision, of seeing Woodbine Mohawk Park be that top harness racetrack in North America, is it being fulfilled?
Well, yes, Jason. It's a long journey, and when I hear the comments, I think back to many of the discussions that I had. As you know, I was chair of Woodbine in 2012 and until 2015, and one of the first moves I suggested was to move the Standardbreds to Mohawk, and I can say that it wasn't greeted with open arms initially. I think that people were concerned, and I understood it. People were concerned that here's a thoroughbred guy coming in, and the first thing he does is he moves the Standardbred horses out of the Toronto market, and that's the way it was perceived. I actually didn't see it that way at all. I think it was an opportunity to, first of all, refurbish Mohawk. It had a lot to do, quite frankly, with our relationship with the OLG. We were at a position where it was going to be difficult to keep both racetracks from an operating cost standpoint going, Jason. And the OLG committed to a gaming operator being there on the long term and helping us keep the lights on and pay the costs. And so that was certainly a critical part of the decision. It was layered on top of regular concerns from drivers of shipping their horses, many of whom were in the Campbellville and Hamilton general area in terms of their training centers, and shipping into Woodbine on a Friday night or weekend night in January and February was growing old on them with just the traffic congestion that's built in the last 10 years in the GTA. And finally, from a wagering perspective, we had convinced ourselves that it didn't make a whole lot of difference with so much of our wagering, approximately 75%, being done on HPI and online, that it was not going to have a major impact on the health of the industry by moving to the Mohawk market, and that part has proved correct. I mean, we didn't know for sure at the time. It was a risk that people would take to it. They have taken to it. Even the move from a branding perspective, I remember the angst over that we changed the name of Mohawk to Woodbine at Mohawk Park. Again, that was a move just so people understand, and you never get a chance to talk to people about why we do things, but with so much of our wagering online and building the Woodbine brand across North America, into Australia, and across the world, it was much more efficient to build one brand, and that was the Woodbine brand, and that's what we went with. But that explained we wanted to keep Mohawk, we wanted to keep the name Mohawk Park, and which is what we did. But people will notice that from a digital standpoint, social media standpoint, it's Woodbine SB, and that was on the advice of our marketing people that you're going to be much more successful if you want to establish one brand as a brand of integrity, a brand that represents good racing. That you need to do that across the company and do it that way. So it's been a great success. I hope everyone loves the new paddock. That was part of the plan originally. The dining room renovations. It's such a joy to be there, and it's quite frankly for me, and I'm sure many people would agree, it's just a better place to watch racing. You're right trackside, and where the track was located at Woodbine on the inside, it just wasn't as much fun to watch. I love going and sitting at that trackside bar when we used to be able to do that at Mohawk, and being right right part of the action. And as far as our goal, no disrespect to the other standardbred tracks in North America, but because we're all partners and we all have to work together, and we recognize that having other strong racetracks is good for the industry, and we work very closely, for example, with the Meadowlands, and they're good partners with us, and having other strong racetracks south of the 49th, as you say, is good. But at the same time, we want to be recognized as the best. We want the best horses coming up here. We want the best drivers. We want the best trainers. I think a big part of our strength is our year-round racing. People can come and live here and raise a family here, and their kids can go to school. It's nice to have that 12-month racing as we have right in Milton, right in Campbellville, and so we're really proud of where we are today. I couldn't be happier with the job that Jessica Buckley and Bill McClinchy have done in the last few years, and in putting Woodbine at Mohawk Park on the map, as the #1 destination, and that's where we want to be. We were already close, so don't misinterpret what I'm saying. We've always had a strong racing at Mohawk. It's always that Grand Circuit. Has been around forever. I grew up more in the thoroughbred side, but certainly I can trace my roots. Don't get say anything, Brad, but going to Garden City Raceway in St. Catharines. So I go back a few years on the standardbred side too. So I know the product has always been first rate in Ontario, but I feel a new excitement around what's going on at Mohawk, and hats off to the entire Woodbine management team for bringing us the technology, the innovation, just the way we look after the property. And hats off and thank you to the owners and drivers and trainers and all our customers, our loyal wagering customers. They drive the business from a revenue standpoint, and so we're in a good place today. I very, very excited about where we're at. We've got a lot more to do. Anne mentioned earlier that people don't like change, and I think we've got to continue to try new things. I think the success of moving the 10 post to the inside, that gate. Having trailers has been a good thing. We tried different distances. We'd like to continue to try new things, to be innovative, and bring more wagering, and so there's lots still to do. The Mohawk Million is an example of that, and I'm sure and I'm hoping, and I'm constantly pushing our management team, Jason, that there's new challenges, and the challenges. Let's try some different things, and you're not going to. If it works, great. If it doesn't work, that's great too. At least we can hold our head high and say we've tried to make changes in an industry that quite frankly needs some changes. This sports and entertainment market is so competitive, and racing needs to play a role, and the way that's going to play a role is by changing and adapting to new customers and making it fun. So we're proud of where we're at, and we'll continue to get better. And yes, that's clearly a goal to be a clear, recognized #1 in the harness racing world.
I can definitely echo the sentiments of Garden City, right off the highway there and going up to Orangeville. And I always bring this up because everybody thinks I'm a thoroughbred guy. I love both. I actually started with the harness horses first at Greenwood, working for Harold Stead. So that's where it started. Then it eventually transitioned over to thoroughbred racing. And quickly, guys, before we go, speaking of which, the countdown's officially on. We're 9 days away from that Breeders' Stakes Saturday. First to you, and just a thumbs up or thumbs down. Is Mighty Heart going to do it?
Yes.
Okay, good answer. Can you ask Paul behind you too quickly? No, never mind. Brad, what about you?
Yeah,
Yep.
I'm good.
Per- perfect. And Jim, you get the final say.
Oh, I let me put it another way. I'm not going to dodge the question, but listen, I think with what we've seen with Tall Dark Stranger this year, and what we've seen with Ramona Hill, and what we've seen with just having stars in the sport is so important. And so as even as a racetrack operator, I'll show my bias. I hope we have a hero. I hope we have a Triple Crown winner. Yes, to answer the question, I think he's
Okay.
shown with his talent and with his ability to go a distance. It looks like, and he certainly has some grass breeding on his side. So yes, I think he will do it, and yes, I hope he do. This sport needs stars, needs heroes, and it'll be a good thing for horse racing generally if we can have a Canadian Triple Crown winner, which we haven't had, as you know, Jason, in many years.
2003, Wanda was the last one. Well, this was a lot of fun, guys. Appreciate it. You guys were all excellent. And Brad, Jim, thank you for the time. And thank you for watching from wherever online as we get together virtually for another one of these Stronger Togethers. Guys, have a great rest of the day, and thanks.
Thank you. It's been fun.
Yep,
All right.
absolutely.
We'll talk to you again soon.